Hello and welcome to my Xbox/Xbox 360 collection. Now, I never owned an original Xbox, but I did buy a Xbox 360 back in, say, autumn 2007, and I picked up a couple of original Xbox titles that were backwards compatible, and I'll get started because there's quite a lot here. There's probably at least 3 parts. First up, we'll start with the original Xbox titles I have. The first one is Halo 2. This is the limited collector's edition. I'll just open it up for you. And it has the instruction booklet and 2 discs. That's the limited edition one and the standard one. And it's a good game. It's not the greatest story, but as a game, I thought it was better than the original. But that's my opinion anyway. I feel although I thought the story was slightly better than the first game. But next up we have Jet Set Radio Future, which I absolutely love. I think it's one of the best games I've played in recent years. This is probably the title I was most jealous about. When it was an Xbox exclusive for the original Xbox, me owning a PS2 at the time, and I quite enjoyed the first one on the Dreamcast, which coincidentally has just been re-released on the Xbox Live Arcade. I highly recommend it. That's awesome as well. And finally, we have Jade Empire. I've not had a chance to play this one yet, but it's from BioWare, so it's got to be good at least, despite what internet naysayers would say. More on that later. That's it for my Xbox collection. Sorry it's so small, but here's my 360 collection. Starting off with Darksiders II. It's the limited edition. Comes with a free DLC. I believe it's Argul's Tomb. That's it. And I really liked it. I liked it a hell of a lot more than the first game. I thought they sort of the development team saw like the flaws of the first game and they rectified it for me. Like the combat felt more organic. The platforming was a hell of a lot better. Like the jumping, like when you pressed A or X, whatever console you're playing, to jump, it will like react instantly rather than delay like it did in the first game. But yeah, I haven't finished this yet, but so far I'm enjoying it. It's fairly similar to another game that I will show you in later on, but there's a few instances where you'll come up against a boss that you can't beat until you level up enough so that you can finally beat them. And next up we have one of my personal favourite games of this generation, and that is Fallout 3, Game of the Year edition. And this includes all the DLCs that you see there. And I absolutely loved this game when I first played it. Around, I believe it was Christmas 2007, I got this for Christmas, and the original Fallout 3, not the Game of the Year edition, of course. And it was one of the first games that I played pretty much on 360 anyway, from start to finish, non-stop. And even when the game froze on me and I had to sort of restart from God knows where, like especially if I didn't have an autosave, which would suck. I'd lose like an hour and a half of gameplay. But I didn't really care because I loved playing it so much. And it ranks up as one of my favourite games of all time. So yeah. Next up we have A game that sort of flew under a lot of people's radar, and that's a shame because this was probably my favourite racing game of this year, and that is and one of definitely in my top 10 favourite games of the year, and that's Dirt Showdown. And yeah, absolutely fantastic game. It's basically it's the closest we will get to a true sequel to Destruction Derby on the PlayStation 1. And that is high praise indeed, because that was fantastic at the time as well. And but yeah, Dirt Showdown, there's a variety of different modes. There's a standard like racing modes, there's the Destruction Derby style modes, and also like the trick and hooligan events, which I'm amazing at. I don't like to brag, but I'm pretty damn good at those. My only complaint is when you go online and you play like trick events, for example, like the hooligan time trial, where you have to do like tricks and smash boxes and stuff like that. When people join or leave matches, sometimes the online can go completely out the window, because you'll smash like through a box and the game won't register that you've done that, even though you have, and that will completely screw up your race. But yeah, it's a minor like little irk, but other than that, I think the game's next to perfect. Next up, we have Dragon's Dogma. Very good game from this year. Sort of think Skyrim crossed with like the combat of stuff like Shadow of Rome, for example, and that's pretty much Dragon's Dogma right there. And like a few elements of Shadow of the Colossus as well, like when you're fighting the bosses in the game, or sort of bosses of mini bosses. And yeah, it's a pretty damn good adventure game. It's very grind heavy, much like Darksiders II, when you come up against a boss, and there'll be certain instances where you're too weak and you have to like constantly grind to level up enough to actually finally beat them. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, but yeah, I was willing to do it, just to get it out of the way. But yeah, you can actually, a unique feature of this game is you can like share like pawns from like friends or random people on Xbox Live, which is pretty cool. And they can sort of help you get through the game, along with like leveling up your own character and your pawn as well. So, and you get like 2 other pawns like that you can recruit like via Xbox Live or PSN, and yeah, I really like that. I think it's a unique feature. It'll become somewhat redundant when like there's no Xbox Live on the 360 anymore, but for now it's pretty damn good. Next up, I'd probably say my favourite game from last year. I'm not gonna lie about that, and that's Deus Ex Human Revolution. Absolutely superb game. One of the best returns of a franchise, in my opinion. And yeah, probably I'm going to say technically the best stealth in a third person perspective, but in a way it's kind of cheating, because you have a cover system which is third person, so you can sort of I'm gonna let that slide and give it its due. But yeah, fantastic. You can play this game pretty much how you want. You can like go through it like shooting and killing pretty much everyone, or you can just go through it like stealthily and without killing a single person. I've managed to do that. It was tough, but I did manage to do it, and yeah, it feels so much more rewarding when you do it in that way. But yeah, I love games where you have the freedom to do what the hell you want. So in a certain situation. So yeah, fantastic game. Next up we have Super Street Fighter 4. Now I'm not big into the fighting genre, but for me, I think this was one of the best this generation. And I played the original one, and yeah, it was good. I didn't really get into it that much, but luckily I had friends who were, and willing to sort of put up with my suckiness. And yeah, I decided to get like Super Street Fighter 4, considering it was like half price of a standard retail game. And yeah, me and my friends, we sort of played through it quite a lot for the last couple of years, and yeah, really had a blast playing it. I just managed to sort of, for the first time, get better at a fighting game. So yeah, that's a great selling point. Like for someone who, even like me, who is retarded at fighting games, can actually get good, somewhat. Next up, we have Xcom, Enemy Unknown. I'll be honest, for what I play, I absolutely loved the original XCOM on the PS1 and PC. And yeah, again, I think this is definitely, for me anyway, the best relaunch of a series this year, certainly. Way better than Max Payne and SSX, that's for sure. I'm going to get a little hate for that, I don't care. But yeah, it's a strategy title, turn-based, which is great for me because I'm pretty damn horrible at real-time strategy. So, but yeah, it's a game that you can play for hours and hours and hours and still fail at it, but that's okay because you really enjoy like doing research and going through the game in a certain way. Like you can like research certain projects or just like bypass that completely and just like blow every single alien up that you find. Yeah, not the best strategy, but yeah, you can do it if you want. Next up we have at the time a very underrated title, but for me it's the sequel. It's what Final Fantasy 13 should have been, and that is Lost Odyssey. Absolutely superb RPGs. I'm not massive on like RPGs. I never was in like the PS1 era and parts of the PS2 era as well. But yeah, this one really is spectacular. I've not finished it, but I think I'm on like the second disc of like 4 on this one. But from what I have played, it's really fantastic. So really really like emotional as well. Like the main character came right here. He has like these like flashbacks, which initiates sort of little stories that you can read through, and I'll be honest, a lot of the time I did choke up a little bit. It's quite powerful stuff, and yeah, there's quite an interesting battle system where you how you initiate the fight. You sort of charge at the enemy, and then you tap the right trigger at the right time to get like a perfect or critical hit. And yeah, I thought that was kind of unique. I wish like RPG developers would do more stuff like that. Next up, we have Left 4 Dead 2. Now, Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2, not gonna lie, they're pretty much the same game with like different skins and different little tweaks here and there. But personally, I prefer the second one simply because you have melee weapons, and I always felt the first one should have had melee weapons, and yeah, that's what sort of swayed me to stick with this one. And yeah, absolutely fantastic game. The levels are really long in certain places, and online it's fantastic, especially you have friends to do like versus and stuff. Like me and my friends, we would destroy pretty much 9 out of 10 any other team on versus mode, and yeah, we had like a blast, just owning everybody for like years and years. But yeah, yeah, really fantastic music, fantastic graphics, pretty good gameplay, you know. Yeah, I still say it's one of the best co-op games out there right now. Okay, that'll do for part one. I'll see you again for part two.